So another thing that I did want to discuss in all of this is the $20 million, because one thing that Kyle brought up in his first video, he showed an older video of you being asked about it and saying that you didn't think at the time that that $20 million had changed Cenk's perspective.
I don't think Cenk is preaching a false narrative for investment money. I think he truly believes it. I take it, Cenk is what I call a natural Republican, right? So he was a Republican at first for a long time, and he talks about this openly, about how he even led pro-Iraq war rallies, right? The first one. And so that's why people are drawn to him, because it's this great journey where he went from this, meathead, into this progressive, right? And so that's what appealed to me about his journey and about Cenk. So I think, if he is what we consider to be wrong on an issue, it's just because he's genuinely believes it. That money, that investment money, that's not how Cenk works. And if he's making a mistake, it's just he's making a mistake. Or I disagree with him. I disagree with him before they took that money. Well, the first gas attack in 2013, and Barack Obama wanted to bomb Syria over that, and they believed it.
And it was proven false.
It was since proven false.
And honestly, so looking back, I have noticed Cenk seemingly kind of going back and forth on this a few different times. There are times when it seems as though he was saying that that the gas attacks did take place and they didn't take place, and advocating for bombing and not bombing, and saying that Tucker Carlson was copying what he was saying about not attacking. Like, it seemed very all over the place. So and again, in his video, Kyle was saying that Cenk described himself previously as a soft interventionist. So I guess I'm just wondering from you, how much do you think the $20 million really has changed TYT, or does Cenk really have any kind of underlying philosophy at all, or is he just kind of all over the place, and has he been that way for years?
Well, Cenk's instinct are always Republican right wing. Now, that's not bad if you're a Republican right winger, but if you're supposed to be a progressive, that's not good. His instincts have always been right wing. He was for the Libya bombing. He did pro-war rallies for Iraq. He bragged about that he was for the Libya war. He bragged about it. I showed the video on my show. And he was giddy over the Libya, turning it into a failed state, going along with Hillary Clinton and the imperialists and the neocons. And then he wanted to bomb Syria more and more. I was the only one on that panel. There was Johnny Iderola, Cenk, and Ben Mankiewicz, and I was the only anti-war voice on there. They were all sitting there trying to convince me, come on, Jimmy, don't you want to bomb? Don't you want to bomb? So the money totally changed them. And when I was asked that question by Lauren Steiner, that was before the change. They had just gotten the money, and I didn't see the changes that had happened yet. But boy, oh boy, did they change after that. It was like they just went nuts. And I knew. So, and then it was like a year later that the executive at the TYT told me that they have to move towards the center. And so I didn't know.
Can you just share any more details about that specifically? Like, what was that conversation like, and just how was that framed exactly?
I was saying the same shit. I'm like, well, if he's taking money from these people, how is it not going to affect it? It's obviously going to affect, right? And he goes, well, we have to move towards the center. We know that. That's a direct quote. So, and I don't want to say who that was, I mean, Ben Mankiewicz was one of my best friends over there. I had a lot of good friends. I don't want to say who said it, but that was said. And then and when I saw them smear Julian Assange, I was like, oh, they're doing this. They're signaling to a donor. You could tell Cenk didn't even believe what he was saying, just like they don't believe what they're saying about Aaron Matei, just like they don't believe what they're saying about me, just like they don't believe what they're saying about Syria. You could tell in their face, they don't believe it. And he didn't believe. Cenk was just like, oh, I have to do this because he's signaling to a donor. And they're out of money. Cenk blew through that $20 million. He's got to get more donors. They got to get more money. And so I don't know what who knows? Maybe Cenk's going for that NED Bellingcat money right now, because that's who they're using to report on Syria. Bellingcat. Anna was tweeting out Bellingcat. She's retweeting Bellingcat, which, if you know who they are, they're a CIA cutout. That's who she was using for her info on Syria as a journalist, while she was tweeting out a doctored video, a deceptively edited video, to smear an anti-war journalist, Aaron Matze. And Kyle didn't want to punch her in the face for that. Isn't that interesting? He didn't even fucking mention it, Primo. Kyle, what do you think you're doing? Who do you think you're fooling? You want to come for me in a dishonest way? You will pay a price.
So, Jimmy,
I'm fucking Dave Rubin? That's who you think you're dealing with?